Welcome to Brighter Shore Central, your one-stop shop for all Brighter Shore's news on this upcoming MMORPG. Let's get right into the news on this video. So we've got some interesting updates, a lot to talk about regarding PvP within Brighter Shore's MMORPG. We've also got some recent frequently asked questions and answers from Andrew Gower, and some information regarding the open beta details. We're going to go into all of that in this video. If you do enjoy these Brighter Shores MMORPG updates, then do smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel. We cover all things for this game if you're interested in that. So let's go right into the information. So first of all, Andrew Gower has recently tweeted that yes, Brighter Shores will have optional PvP. It has been something I have in mind since day one and been thinking about for years, and I have come up with some good ideas for how to make it work well. For a feature this important, I want to take time to get it exactly right, so it probably won't quite be ready at launch, but will be a high priority feature to finish soon after launch. So it says here that the keyword actually is optional. So I know that there is a lot of people that do like PvP and a lot of people that just want to do PvE content. And that was prevalent in a video that I made. I talked about Brighter Shores, whether it should have PvP or not in a previous video in a long discussion format. And it is a little bit divided, but I think what the consensus is that as long as it's optional, as long as you're not forced into PvP in every single situation, then it's okay. If you can just be optional towards it and you can choose to do it if you want to do so, then that is the best way to go about it, I think. So I like the fact that Andrew Gower is thinking that this is going to be optional. You're not going to be forced to actually compete in PvP. He also mentioned that the plan is the game will be labelled as early access until PvP is added. I.e., I want to let people start playing without having to wait even longer, but acknowledge it's not quite finished at that point. There will be not a save reset at the end of early access. So essentially, when the game releases on Steam, etc., it is going to be with the tag of early access. But the point is that no matter what progress you make in the game, say you get some professions levels up in fishing and cooking and combat stats, you will not be reset. As it goes into early access, everything is saved, essentially. All your skills, all your progress will be saved. So, you're not wasting your time, essentially. Everything that you do in the game will be saved when it does go into early access. And it says that here that, of course, it's going to go into full release in the sense when PvP is also in the game. So I think that that's a good way to look at it, really, because he doesn't want to necessarily massively delay the game. He wants to try to get the game out there, it seems. That's what I'm getting from this tweet. He really wants to get the game out there, but he wants the community to understand that this game is in early access. It's not going to be perfect. There's going to be updates that are needed, regular updates, and that is what's planned through 4 episodes in the game as well. So there is rolling updates. He's also planning to update it regularly as a live game, as an MMORPG. So that's good to know, but he's just hoping that the community that's out there understands that it's not going to be absolutely perfect on release. There's going to be issues, there's going to be problems, but there's going to be a core element there for the game. Now, here's some frequently asked questions about the game, Brighter Shores, and one person asked, will the early access only be playable by a select few, i.e. closed beta of some sort? If so, how will these people be chosen? Now, Andrew Gower's response is that it will be open, not a closed beta. So it will be available and accessible to everybody to play the open beta when they do release this version of it. This is just the open beta before the early access. And essentially, you're going to be able to play the game with what they actually release, and it's going to be open, which means everybody gets access to it. You don't have to go looking around for trying to find a code and etc. You, generally speaking, are going to be able to get access to it. And that's good to hear as well. Another question was asked, hi Andrew, will the game have ultra-wide support? Alternatively, can I window it and resize it like in RuneScape 3? And the response from Andrew was a very simple yes. So you'll be able to resize and have it full screen. There's going to be customizability with how you want the setup to be. Some people like to play on a small screen, of course, with their RuneScape. They like it just in the sort of small screen. Some people play it full screen, and there's going to be that option to do whichever you prefer, essentially. One of the questions was, will it have a region-based server? And the response from Andrew was, Brighter Shores doesn't need a local server to work well because it has extremely efficient client-side prediction. During our internal testing, we normally simulate a round trip latency of 300 milliseconds, and we can't tell it's even there. So essentially, the way that the engine works, they're not going to have local servers. They're not going to need it. And then the other question is, what was Chasm, I think you pronounce it, going to be like? And the answer was that it was going to be awesome, but it wasn't an MMO, and it seemed everyone wanted me to make another MMO. So it's interesting to note that Andrew has pivoted into Brighter Shores. He was originally going to focus on different types of games, but it seems that everybody wants him to make another MMO, so that's what he's gone and done. So he's listened to the community, he's listened to, I suppose, the fan feedback, and he's gone with where the customers want him to go, essentially. Also, we have this image about the history of Brighter Shores. Now, people often ask me when I started creating Brighter Shores, the answer is rather complex, so I made a picture. Only 12 people have Steam keys to the alpha. Most of them are staff, so don't be upset that you don't have one. So essentially, they do have going through an alpha process at the moment just to refine the game before it goes into essentially open beta. But this is a little information sheet of how the history of the game has come about. So as you can see, in September 7th, 2010, Fen Research was founded by Andrew and James working on the FenForge game engine. So this FenForge game engine is what the game backend is running on, essentially. And that is very interesting, the fact that that has been in development for quite some time, and it's their own bespoke engine, which is going to have its own unique capabilities. But then in 2013, a game was created. Now, in September 2016, Brighter Shores game was started. Paul, Greg, and Joe started working on Brighter Shores, Andrew leading the design on primarily focused on the FenForge. Then we also had in 2017, Ian started working on Brighter Shores. 2017 in July, other people started working on, Nick. And 2021, Andrew moved from FenForge to Brighter Shores. So you can begin to see all of the updates that have gone through in the history of the game. And then, of course, in March, Brighter Shores was released. Then they had an internal alpha with episodes 1 and 2 in March, and they had an internal alpha in June 2024. So we can see that there is a progress going on for many, many years regarding this game. So, and we are hoping that the release is still going to be Q3 2024. That's when it was announced to be released, is in Q3. So that's either by the end of this month or by the end of next month, September. Otherwise, it would be considered not on time with what they said that they was hoping to do. But so that's very interesting. Now, it's also important to note that this game is obviously being compared to RuneScape, with Andrew Gower being the creator of RuneScape, but Andrew Gower said himself that it is going to be its own distinct game. Okay, so it's going to have a new, different player experience, and they're going to try to think of stuff that's unique, different skills, different professions that are not in other games. They're going to have a really big focus on the starting experience in the game. That was one of Andrew's main focus, which is good because essentially first impressions mean everything. So the first hour, 2 hours in the game need to be really good to really try to hook people into the game. I think that's really important. And another point is, a lot of people do ask, what type of game is it going to be like? Well, we know it's going to be an MMORPG, but also if you look on Steam, some of the tags associated with the game are relaxing and point and click. Now, you could probably see similarities to RuneScape there because that is both relaxing and a point and click game. But of course, this game is going to have its own unique lore. It's going to have its own way of doing things. It's going to have its own storylines, its own skills, its own professions, its own combat, etc., its own way of training skills. So there's going to be different elements to it, but I suppose the base game is going to have a bit of familiarity to it in the sense that it's going to be relaxing and point and click as well. But I don't think that familiarity is necessarily a bad thing. I think that's good. And I think if you've played RuneScape for like thousands of hours like I have, moving to a different MMORPG, the experience is a bit like, well, what's going on here? And if it's got that familiarity, I think that's good. It's also going to be relaxing, and then it's going to be simplistic as well. So, and I think that's important. I think sometimes you can go onto an MMORPG, there's far too many systems going on, too much different tabs. There's too much like cascading systems of like, you got to do this and then this bit for this and this bit for that, and it can get overwhelming sometimes when you've just got so much stuff going on. I think it's trying to go down the simplistic, relaxing and point and click route, and essentially that is stuff that kind of interests me, to be honest. I kind of like that idea of gameplay because I like to just chill out, afterwards. So after finishing studying, etc. Anyways, so thank you for watching this video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe because we will cover more Brighter Shores news in the future as this game ramps up for release. Smash the like button, comment down below if you're happy with the PvP changes or the update on the PvP, and I'll speak to everybody later. Thank you.